Aries, today we are going to discuss 3 simple methods to help you achieve justice for yourself, which will allow you to achieve personal fulfillment and manifest your Arian ideas. Aries, by the end of this video, you have to understand why justice is so important to your life, how we should be defining justice itself, and how you should be using that awareness in order to build the life that you desire. Or the ruling planet of Aries, which is Mars, is all about desire. As an Aries rising myself, I have also struggled with these problems. Following these methods is what's worked for me. It's what's worked for my clients, and it's what's going to get you to that next level. By transforming vice to virtue, you will win. So let's get started. Okay, so first we need to become aware of what justice is. As you can see here, we have an example chart for Aries, born April 3rd, 1933. The sun is conjunct to Venus, and so this person's life journey has quite a lot to do with the Arian archetype, but also their relationships. And where they'll be looking for others in a way to treat them fair, which I don't like the word fair, and we're going to get into that right now. So justice itself needs to be defined before we can get into our 3 methods to deal with it and understand the dynamics. Justice needs to be defined as praise for our virtues. And what is a virtue? A virtue is a thing that we act to gain and keep, okay? So when we're in Aries, we need to take certain actions in order to achieve our values. Values are the things we act to gain and keep. Virtues are the actions that get us to those values. So virtues are the things we want to be doing. Now we have to hold our vices in contempt. So justice is both praise for our virtues and contempt for our vices. And the same goes with the other people in our life, right? Like we have to hold their vices in contempt, meaning we see them as worthless. So that's what that means. If something is contemptuous to us, it means it's worthless. We don't think it's worth any of our time, energy. What we do is condemn that, right? So that is how we need to start thinking about justice. Now, what tends to happen, Aries, is you think, and a lot of you probably think, that because you're just with everybody else, because you have all this loving, giving energy, that because you're just with everybody else, that they will, quote unquote, play fair and be just with you. But that's not exactly how it works. And in fact, unfortunately, as an Aries, that's the sign that you've gotten off path. And the reason that you get there is that you're overgiving and you're overpraising of other people's virtues, right? So we would take this example chart, and this person has the planet, one of the planets of relationships, Venus, in Aries. So what happens here, Aries, is that this Arian person, so as you can see, it relates to each planet. So the sun in Aries is one thing. But if we add in another planet, now that planet, its sphere of influence, has to operate through an Arian manner. So the sign itself is telling us how we have to operate. And so with Venus in Aries, it's telling us that in relationships, this person will be looking for others to treat them justly. Now, they might think of it as, I want them to treat me fairly, but I liked justly, and I like justice because of the definition that I gave. Because life really isn't fair, right? Justice and virtue for an Aries is not virtue for a Taurian. So if we were going to say basically fair, which most people think more of as equal, as an equality, meaning that if I allow an Aries to be impulsive and follow their impulse and not be stuck to a day-to-day routine that's mostly the same as a Taurian would. So like an Aries needs a routine to stay within their own framework. A Taurus needs a routine to stay grounded in the season that they're in and work their strategy. Both need a routine. Both are trying to actualize their values in a different way. But what is helpful and praiseworthy to the Arian is not helpful and praiseworthy to the Taurian. Meaning that following one's impulses, let's say, as an Arian, is virtuous. Following one's impulse as a Taurian, probably less virtuous, because that might borderline on vice if they don't have any Arian planets, because now they're coming off of their strategy. They're not staying grounded. They're trying to maintain comfort in a way that's negative for them. And so it's not that they're not on the right track, and sometimes, and that their intentions aren't good, just like you, Aries. Okay. So now that we understand that, so an Aries often thinks, hey, I see all this good in my partner. So what do? They praise the good. And this is what tends to get them off path, is because you, Aries, because you praise all this good in your partner and you go, I see their awesome qualities and their gifts and their potential and their this and their that. And this is part of being a fire sign, is like all the love just pours through you. And so you want to go and give it to somebody. It's like, I want to go and help them out. So you give them all that glory and praise and love, which is great. Like if your partner's behaving virtuously, if your friends are behaving virtuously, meaning they're taking the actions that are attaining the values that you both share together, right? Friends should have shared values. Lovers should especially have shared values. The groups that you're a part of should have shared values, meaning our values mirror each other. So when I support you as an individual and you support me as an individual, we can then manifest the same values together, meaning when you succeed, I succeed. When I succeed, you succeed. And my job is to strengthen you as an individual because we both win. It's a win-win. But as an Aries, the dynamic is to follow the impulse and then let the other people support you. What tends to happen, though, is you spend all your time giving all this love to somebody else that you expect that when the time comes, they're going to, quote unquote, treat you justly, treat you fairly. It just doesn't work that way. In fact, it almost never happens. Okay. And this is where we get off path. And this is why looking for justice from others first, Aries, is always a mistake. And you say, well, what's up with that? Why can't I expect to be treated justly when I've gone and given all this love and praise and dedication and time and effort and energy to the people in my life, Jay? Why can't I expect the same back? Why can't I expect a sort of, let's say, a just treatment in return, a reciprocity? And the reason that you don't get it is because what you're giving up, Aries, is very key ingredients to your success. And these are part of the 3 fixes, the 3 things that are going to fix this problem that you have when you get off path, which is you need to treat yourself justly. So you need to do yourself justice. And how do we do that? Well, we have to stop looking for it from other people, and we have to say, okay, I'm going to praise my own virtues. I'm going to listen to my own impulses. I'm going to praise myself for following them. I'm going to stop relying on other people's points of view, and I'm going to stop relying on other people to treat me the way I would like to be treated, and I'm going to start treating myself that way, because Aries is an independent sign, and in Aries, we're developing the individual. And then what happens, Aries, as a natural leader, when you actually treat yourself well, other people fall in line and start to treat you well also. Meaning when you're willing to hold your vices in contempt. So this is the other side of justice, right? You can't just be, treating yourself virtuously. You have to hold your vices in contempt. You have to say, my bad behaviors, meaning when I give up the things that are healthy for me, and I start taking action that's not in line with my Arian interests, my ideas, my impulses, the things I know to be true and correct for me, I have to hold those behaviors as worthless as I hold my good behaviors as, praiseworthy and great and worthy of reward. So it's a double-sided coin, right? That's what the balance of justice is. So you got to start doing that. And this is where we come to the 3 key methods. But if you'd like, you could leave a comment below and tell me how this works out in your life, right? Are you often overgiving? I'm sure you are. Are you often just with everybody in your life as an Aries? I'm sure you are. Do you often give them all that love and attention that other people need, build them up just to find out that you don't feel like justice is being served back to you? And, you can leave me a comment, let me know what your experiences is, and then later on, you can obviously let me know if these methods help you. So let's get to the 3 steps. And these 3 steps, the first one we're going to start with is boundaries. As an Aries, it's about your individual identity. So what we have to do is first establish boundaries, meaning you give up your boundary of individuality in order to create that connection with a loved one or with a friend or with a business partner whom you then feed energy to and try to help them succeed. And then what happens is you forget all about your own impulses, all about your own virtues, all about the things that you deserve to be praised for, the things that you want, and that you wish other people would come in and give you credit and love for. You got to show that love to yourself. And how we do that is we have to create a boundary. That's step 1, which leads us into step 2, because we can't create a boundary if we don't know about ourselves. So step 2 is self-awareness. So we have to understand that in order to establish healthy boundaries for ourselves as an Aries, we have to get out of other people's lives, get out of what they think, get out of their points of view and step into your own. This develops a level of self-awareness, Aries, that's going to see you through, that's going to allow you, and by see you through, I mean it's going to see you to who you are, what you want, where you want to go, how you want to be treated, what you want to create, the ideas that are important to you, the things that matter. And then you're going to say, okay, here's my boundary. Like, I need an hour in the morning to work out. I can't be interrupted. I need, 2 hours later in the day to study. I need some rest time in the evenings because it just keeps, people are just out of control, and I need to spend some time with my children. Or, you'll come up with this idea about what matters to you versus what other people have been saying and what you've been giving up for other people. And so then you can start to establish a boundary, but we can't have that without step 3. And so step 3 goes right in line with both of these, and that is you need alone time. So we kind of just gave these in reverse because they're really important. You have to have the boundary in order to protect yourself from overgiving and not caring enough about yourself, not being just with yourself. Setting a proper boundary is the first step to treating yourself well, getting yourself to where you want to go, and starting to manifest your own ideas and act on your own impulses as an Aries, which is the key to so much of your life. Self-awareness is the way to get in touch with your individuality, and you need the alone time away from people every single day, as much as you can, just for at least, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so. Talk to yourself, get to know yourself, spend that time with you, and you'll start to develop that awareness. You'll start to say, this is who I am, this is who I am not, and then you'll begin to flourish in your life because you will no longer be giving up your boundaries, treating other people better than you treat yourself, and then finding out that you've lost your own identity and you've lost your own way in the process. So you see, Aries, it's okay, because when you start to treat yourself justly and you set up proper boundaries, then you can give all that love to other people that you want to give. You can give all that attention and all that energy to people within reason, without sacrificing yourself in the process. And that is what I do, right? I coach my clients to go from vice to virtue and do it in a non-sacrificial way so that everybody wins. We create win-win situations. So if you would like to work with me more, you can feel free to click the link below in the description, m.me/JasonAstrology. You can message me right through Facebook, and we can see if a consultation is right for you. But this is the process, everybody. You know, this is the way to start praising yourself for your virtues, getting in touch with all that love you give to others and bringing it into yourself and beginning to manifest all the stuff that you came here. Because the gift that you really have to give is the gift of your individuality, the gift of your own unique ideas and your own point of view as an Aries. Giving up your point of view or letting yourself be led astray because you've invited in too many other points of view becomes a huge problem. So Aries, what we've learned is you have to treat yourself justly, not look for it from other people, which is a sign that you're off path. You need to establish healthy boundaries. You have to develop self-awareness in order to establish those boundaries. And you have to have an alone time. Every day, you have to talk with yourself and you have to figure out who you are so that you can develop that self-awareness. These 3 steps are going to start to get you into a place of justice and get you to a stage of personal fulfillment where we're manifesting your ideas out in the world and you're not doing too much and you're allowing other people to use their gifts to support you, not just for you to support them. So if you enjoyed this content, please give this video a like, a share, a subscribe. Like I said, please comment below. Let me know about your experience here, if this content was helpful for you. And I will talk to you all soon.